The American dream, the fuel that moves this country. The idea that the United States is able to provide the best quality of life in the whole world. Well, it seems that millennials don't think that the American dream is possible, at least not in the same way that the previous generation. Fusion and the Washington Post put together or recreated a poll did back in '86 by the Wall Street Journal. And in this poll, they were trying to figure out the American dream, how hard it is to achieve, the meaning of it, and the results show that young Americans, specifically white young Americans, are very, very disappointed. They don't think the American dream is a possibility like before.
Of course they don't. You know, I'm right there with them. We're saddled with student loan debt like never before. You can't bankrupt it the way that laws are structured. You have it potentially until your 50s and 60s. So that's very understandable. Debt being a major reason why I wouldn't believe in the American dream is attainable for a lot of people anymore. And we're not really even talking about major dreams like being the CEO of a company. We're talking about like minor things like being able to pay off debt, being able to get a little bit ahead, being able to start a business. You know, these are tiny things that, what does this say, the state of us, that nobody even believes that it's possible anymore?
It is. They do believe that it's possible, but they are changing the definition. And we have a graphic, let's go full screen, so we can see the change. Among whites, the disappointment has tripled. Back in '86, 34% of white people thought that it was possible to achieve the American dream, that it was alive. Now, only 15% of people think that it could be, compared to non-whites that pretty much stayed the same. 18% of the population thought that it was possible. And if you understand, 20, 30 years ago, minorities had a harder time to achieve the American dream, and today are the ones that are still dreaming about it. White young people, they're looking at it and saying, dude, I'm coming out of college with almost $30,000 of debt. How in the world I'm gonna be able to buy a house, buy a car, put a kid through college, have savings and retire? That is not something that they think about it anymore. And now what do we see? They are redefining what the American dream. We have another graphic that shows very, very well how the concept of the American dream has evolved. Back in '86, 80% of people thought that the freedom of choice in how to live their lives was the most important component, a very much part of the American dream. 66% own a home. 73% send their kids to college. So we know that before, the personal definition, personal freedoms were really, really important. Fast forward 30 years, and this is what people care about. Today, very much part of the American dream is to start your own business. 68% of people. I think the influence of Silicon Valley of entrepreneurship, 67% agree that sending their kids to college is still part of the American dream, and to get a college education. But that brings us back. It loops back again to the same problem, the problem of kids trying to go to college, coming out of college with $30,000 of debt. We know
still being unemployed.
It is.
Even having a basic job that pays you enough to live, much less pay your massive student loan debt. I mean, this is understandable.
It is, but it's uplifting to think that the younger generations are basing their future on the idea of creating businesses. The idea of creating enterprises that create more jobs might be the way for these kids to change the course of history. We know that 7 out of 10 recent graduates go out into the world with $30,000 of debt.